Hi there, it's Nikki, and I have something exciting for you. You're invited to my exclusive 3-day sales challenge. This is going to revolutionize the way you sell. So, whether you're looking to overcome the nerves, attract the right prospects, or learn authentic selling techniques, this challenge is for you. In this challenge, you're going to be shown how to 3x your sales in just 1 hour a day for 3 days. So, even if you're shy, even if you're introverted, or you feel like you're the world's worst salesperson, come and join us. It's March 4th through the 6th. I'm going to go live and I'm going to teach 3 of my most popular training courses absolutely free. You can register right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/3day. The number 3 and then DAY, all one word. Yoursalesmaven.com/3day. I will see you there.
Do sales conversations make you feel awkward or pushy? It's time to ditch the outdated salesy strategies. Your guide, Nikki Roush, will show you how to combine kindness with selling skills to meet your prospects where they are, and in the process, how to up-level your influence and income. Learn how to earn business easily and effortlessly. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Roush. Today's episode is a part of the Mastering Excellence series. This comes from my background in neurolinguistic programming, where we learn that there is a structure to excellence. And once you understand the structure of how somebody is achieving exceptional results in their life and or business, you can then apply that same structure in that same context to your life and business and see similar results. Now, today's guest is Scott Aaron. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He is internationally acclaimed and award-winning online marketer, best-selling author, top podcaster, and speaker. Scott Aaron is the go-to specialist when it comes to converting traffic, establishing connections, generating leads, creating sales, and building personal brands, all using LinkedIn. Fully immersing himself in learning LinkedIn and social media strategies, Scott quickly gained traction as a leader in generating big results for other entrepreneurs and online business owners and business coaches. Scott is passionate about helping fellow entrepreneurs achieve success while building their own network organically and without complicated and costly marketing tactics. His program has helped thousands experience explosive growth following his proven systems and strategies. People-focused and result-driven, Scott's strategic approach to teaching others how to create wealth online and organic traffic is the game changer when it comes to competing in a saturated digital market. We are going to be talking today about how to create wealth online. Scott, welcome to the show, friend.
Nikki, so grateful to be here. I'm looking forward to diving into whatever populates and comes up.
I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. Thank you for being willing to dig into this conversation about creating wealth online. Before we do that, is there anything else that you'd like to share a little bit about, like who you are and how you work with clients in particular, a little bit about you and your background?
Yeah, so I started out in the health and wellness industry in 1998, and I spent 18 years up until 2016 as a gym owner. I had 3 different health clubs. I was a personal trainer, sports nutritionist, did corporate wellness speaking. 2013 is when I got more into just general business consulting, and that was led by the path that I found leveraging LinkedIn. And as the story goes, I realized that I was being confined to the 4 walls around me, working at my gym, and I couldn't really grow and expand. So I was looking for deeper and more meaningful ways to connect with people online. Yes, I could have used Facebook or Instagram, but I knew that my core demographic of clientele were business professionals because they came to see me before they went to work. They came to see me on their lunch breaks, and they came to see me on their way home from work. And I knew that LinkedIn was more of a business professioning platform. So I dove in, changed my profile around, started searching and connecting. And within about 6 to 8 months, had a fully scaled operational online wellness coaching practice. And then word started to travel. Other people in the online space started to reach out to me saying, "What are you doing? I will pay you to teach me." And that's when I started scratching my head. I'm like, people are actually going to pay me to teach them how to use this social media platform. And it just goes back to the old saying is that, you'd be stupid for not paying someone to teach you how to get the results that they're getting in a shorter and more concise way. And that
Hmm.
was kind of the beginning of the consulting practice. But if I was to rewind the tape even further, I would say I've always been into human connection. I've always been very intrigued and interested in other people. I was always an inquisitive little boy. I always asked lots of questions, and that actually helped me in everything that I've done. And I would say a pivotal point for me was, my father ended up making some questionable business decisions in the mid 90s after leaving a company that he owned to work for someone else. And that kind of started to go south, outside looking in, and he was given the opportunity to purchase a failing gym in downtown Philadelphia, outside of where we lived. Uh, but prior to that, it was brought to his attention that the company that he had left was under investigation by the federal government for a $9.5 million insurance fraud case that had him, in the center of that. So the good thing was he was able to purchase this gym and have a means of revenue coming in to our family to support myself, my sister, and my mother, when they were together. Uh, but the bad thing is that he would be removed from that situation about 6 months in because he was sentenced to 2.5 years in federal prison.
Mm.
So at that point, without me knowing it as a sophomore in college, I had recently failed out from the University of Pittsburgh because I cared more about being social than actually being educational.
Mm.
I re-enrolled at Temple University, but also was handed the keys to this gym. I had never, at 19 years old, never owned and operated a business, never managed people, never led people. But it was one of those things where I was dealt a hand, and to most people, they would have like immediately given it back to the dealer. Like, I don't want these cards. Give me a new one.
Yeah.
For me, I just embraced it. I said, okay, this is what needs to be done. I need to support my mom and my sister, and I need to, stand up and be strong for not just my dad, but my family. And that's where the superpower of resilience kind of came into play for me because I
Mhm.
learned that there's a solution to every problem. And that was kind of like my mantra at a very young age. And I just found that the gym industry, or the profession that I was involved with, was such an intriguing one because it was a revolving door of people every day, and I was meeting new people every day. I was conversing with new people every day, and it allowed me to tap back into that inquisitiveness that I had as a little boy, but now as a teenager, asking people questions. So it ended up transpiring into being a solution oriented person when I got certified as a nutritionist, as a personal trainer, because you want to get people results, you have to ask
Mhm.
them questions of what they're looking to improve. So that's kind of been the journey, and the ups and downs, the twists and turns, but it was all of those things that I had to grow through that has
Yeah.
allowed me to excel in everything that we're doing today.
That is exceptional. And what a story of triumph on your part to kind of be thrown into something unexpectedly and have to kind of step up and I don't know, maybe did you ever aspire as a young child to own a gym or run a gym, or was that even like on the radar for you? So,
I had no, like the funny thing is this. So I remember, when I started off at the University of Pittsburgh, I was undecided. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I came from an entrepreneurial background. My father owned multiple businesses. My grandfather owned his own pharmacy. My great grandfather was a butcher in South Philadelphia. So I come from a long line of business owners and entrepreneurs. But at 18, I had no idea what I wanted to be. I was too young. There was nothing that I was like, there's some people that know what they want to be. They want to be a doctor, they want to be a lawyer. I didn't, it's not that I didn't have role models, but my dad was a business owner. So there was nothing that I was latching on to, like him being a heart surgeon or a brain doctor, or whatever it is.
yeah.
So I'm going through, and it's almost like my path was decided for me because as a sophomore, it really didn't matter what I declared because I was running the gym. But what I'll say is this, I tell this story. So it was my senior year, and I left the University of Pittsburgh with literally like 6 credits out of 2 semesters. So I actually ended up going to college. I graduated in 5 years, but I went for 2 years straight. So I went spring, summer, fall, spring, summer, fall. I did both. I did double summer sessions 2 years in a row to make up for all the credits I lost. So it's now my senior year. I'm in my advisor's office and they're like, Scott, it's your senior year. Are you excited? I said, yeah, I'm looking forward to graduating, even though I didn't have to. I still wanted to. It was very important to my family. And she said, well, in order for you to graduate, you need to declare a major. I said, what are you talking about? I'm in the Fox School of Business. And she said, no, Scott, you're in the Fox School of Business, but you need a major within the Fox School of Business to actually graduate from this college. I said, oh. I said, well, the classes I've been taking, have I worked towards any specific degree? And she said, well, the good thing is you're 3 classes away from an HR degree. And I'm like, done. Sign me up. So I got a degree in HR, even though it kind of aligned because, I was really intrigued and passionate about recruitment and retention. So recruiting new employees for the gym, because we ended up opening up a second location, recruiting new members of the gym, retaining them. How do you keep? So it was all that churn and burn that I was actually doing in real life that did translate into the business world of what I was learning in college. So they did mesh well together.
Okay, so I have one more question before we dive into these other questions here. Just this is only for my own curiosity. So what you're doing now with you and your wife, because I know you guys are doing business together, with what you're doing now, do you feel like this is what you ultimately were meant to do? Or do you still see other things down the horizon for you that you're like, at some point I'm going to go there?
I'm doing everything I want to do.
Good.
I'm getting paid to speak. Nancy and I are helping people grow their businesses the way that we have. We have a very, very happy work-life integration. We work 3 days a week. So we're not working 4 days a week, and we want that for other people. So I'm doing everything I want to do. I'm impacting people in a positive way. And Nikki, you know the saying, you'll never work a day in your life when you love what you do.
Yeah.
And I love people. Everything I've done in my career, and there have been many ups and downs, a couple divorces. I had to file for bankruptcy. I lost a house. I didn't let any of that stop me. And all of those things led me to meeting my wife. And then once meeting her, it was like a new fire was lit. Like we are the yin and the yang. We're the peanut butter and jelly to each other. And I tell her this almost every day. I would not be where I am today, personally and professionally. I would not be the father that I am if it wasn't for her and what she's taught me. And I wake up every day excited to do everything that I'm doing. Nothing feels forced. I don't ever look at my calendar and I'm like, man, really don't feel like doing this today. I love podcasting. I love writing books. We're writing 2 books this year, one together, one on my own. And I get to do it all. And it's just so much fun. And I absolutely love my life. And I'm so grateful for it.
I love that so much. All right, we're going to dig into the nitty gritty here and be talking about how to create wealth online. So my first question for you is, if I were to stand in for you for a day, so I get to be Scott for the day, what would I have to do or how would I have to think in order to approach this idea of creating wealth online?
Well, first, to create any sort of anything online, whether it's impact or wealth, income, revenue, it's predicated on one specific thing. And that is the know, like, and trust that you build with your online audience. So for me, sales has always been something that I'm very passionate about. I know you're passionate about it. It's something that just came very natural to me. I never felt like a salesperson. I never felt like I was selling snake oil. I was always solving people's problems, and people will pay for a solution. So anyone that's kind of stepping into my shoes and, if they were to trade places with me for a day, they would see most of my routine is providing value in everything that I do. Meaning, any TikTok that's put out there, any Instagram reel that's out there, any post. I do 2 daily affirmation posts on Facebook every day. I do a morning mantra and I do an evening affirmation. Where I want people to, repeat after me, and I like to leave people really good when they start their day, and I want to leave them better before they close their eyes at night. So I always found it much easier to create wealth online when you are seen as a value-added individual in the online space. So when anyone searches for me, they're going to see a lot of value. So someone stepping into my shoes and living my life as me and doing my daily activities, it's actually fun because you're just being a positive, happy, value-added person with all the content that you're creating, which is the first step to creating wealth online. Because going back to something that I said before, people invest in other people when they're looking for a solution for their problem. So if you're a solution-oriented person and your content is derived from that in the online space, you're going to create sales and revenue for your business.
I love that answer. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm stepping in for you for the day. What specifically would I have to do to behave like you?
So, you would have to adopt my morning routine. So
Okay.
I believe in not waking up to work. I believe in waking up to live first. So Nancy and I, we block out the first 5 hours of our day. So we get up at 6 and we don't really touch anything until 11 a.m. And we start out, she calls me the captain of the morning. So I wake her up. We get the dogs up. We have 4 dogs. So we get them fed, take them out for a walk, and then we come right downstairs. We get our morning workout in. Something that I believe in, for me to be my best self for other people, I have to take care of me first. So my physical fitness and my healthy regimen is very important to me, because if I'm not showing up my best, I'm not going to help people the way that I want to. So it always starts out with a workout, a healthy breakfast where Nancy and I sit and we cook breakfast every day together, have our morning coffee, and that gets the juices, flowing. And then it's basically, sitting down at the desk and seeing what's on tap. And we're very proactive in the way that we don't like to work all day. We do kind of like power 90 minutes. So we do dedicated work for 90 minutes, take a break, 90 minutes, take a break, and we cut the day off at 4 o'clock. So we do have lunch together every day as well, and dinner. So my office is downstairs, hers is upstairs. And for me, it's following a specific set of routines and structures depending upon what I'm doing. So for me, LinkedIn is my main platform that I utilize. So I have a very, very strategic routine. So if somebody was stepping into my shoes and they were, obviously doing what I do Monday through Friday, and if we're just going to focus around LinkedIn, which is my main hub, Monday they would be doing a LinkedIn Live, educating people on a specific topic around what they need to do to help their business. Tuesday, they would see some sort of educational infograph. And what I recently started this week is a LinkedIn audio room, which is the Clubhouse version of Clubhouse, but on LinkedIn. So I did a Q&A panel so people could pop on, ask me any questions that they want. Because again, everything is value added.
Yeah.
Wednesdays, I do a lot of my market research. People always ask me, how do you consistently come up with content to put out there? I ask questions. Again, that inquisitiveness of being that little boy, I've not lost that inner child. It's still in me and it's never going to go away. I'm just a grown child right now. So I ask questions. Have you heard about this aspect of LinkedIn? What are you looking to achieve? So for me to facilitate future content, I need to ask my audience specific pain points that's going to fuel more content in the future. Thursday, I do another free live training. I believe in giving as much free value as possible before any money is invested back in me, because you have to give in order to get. So again, it goes back to that value added proposition of what I like to be seen and known as online. And then Friday is typically my long form content day. And I know this is predicated a lot around content, but that's how people are consuming everything right now. In the online space, they want to get to know someone as best as they can without ever talking to them on the phone or being in person. So this is a great way for people to get to know you and
Hmm.
to see your expertise and to see the things that you're skilled at. So I usually do a newsletter article every single Friday, and that's basically what my week looks like. In between all of that are podcasts like this. Nancy and I on Thursdays, that's when we train our mastermind members. We have 3 different groups. So Thursday is what we call our training day. So from 12 to 4, we're doing either a training or a Q&A with our mastermind groups. And outside of that, I always seek to have about 3 to 4 get to know you Zooms each week with business owners or people that could potentially benefit from the things that we offer. I'm never looking to sell and pitch. I'm always looking to build as many business relationships as possible. I call it the online Rolodex of people that know you. So
Hmm.
as they're networking with people and something comes up or populates that is not that person's skill set, it's mine. They know exactly who they should refer them to. So that's a lot of how my day and how my week is spent.
That was little masterclass right there. I think I feel like I need to go back. I'm going to re-listen to this because you just broke it down so beautifully. Talk about structure. That was so great. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Scott. I loved that. Okay. So, next question. What are goals? What are your goals when it comes to this idea of creating wealth online?
So overall, the big goal is to get to what Nancy and I feel is our optimal reoccurring revenue monthly number that will allow us to continue to invest the way that we do in ourselves and obviously in our future, that will still afford us the ability to just work 3 days a week and also buy our beach house, which we're going to be doing at some point this year. And just to create that monetary ease where we give back, and we've recently partnered with a nonprofit that is very near and dear to our hearts. My father recently beat brain cancer. Last year, he was diagnosed with a very rare form of cancer called large B cell intravascular lymphoma, which is a brain cancer of the blood cells in his brain. So it was a very, very rare form, 1 in every 2 million cases, and he beat it. And Twist Out for Cancer is a wonderful nonprofit that one of his clients started, and they just supported him so much that Nancy and I decided to become obviously not just donors, but really team up with them. So when people invest in us, a portion of what people invest in us, we invest into this nonprofit that means a lot to us. And we believe in giving back. We believe in the circulation of money. So I think it's hitting that specific monetary goal, which we've recently hired a COO to kind of oversee everything that we're doing. And we are on pace to do just that this year. And again, once we hit that goal, then it's stretching further because we believe the peak of one mountain is the valley of the next. So we're
Mhm.
never done. We're always looking to climb higher, higher, and higher so we can impact more people, but also live the best life that we can.
That is fantastic. And thank goodness about your dad. What a blessing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh my
100%. It's very
gosh.
scary, but he's a warrior.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So just to follow up, when we were talking about your goals, kind of a follow-up question to that is how do you know when you're achieving your goals?
So Nancy and I don't believe in vision boards
Hmm.
because those are just visions. We
Yeah.
believe happening boards. So about 4 years ago, we started writing down what we wanted to happen in the upcoming year. And we actually start planning out our year ahead at the beginning of Q4. So October, at some point in October, we start planning out, okay, what are we launching? When are we launching it? When's the workshop? So we really get very organized. Then New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, if depending upon if we go out or not, we sit down and we write down what we want to happen. So we have it's right behind me, so I can see it every single day. It's a big, big board, and it's split up into 3 categories: business goals, relationship goals, personal goals. So we always list 10 to 15 things that we want to achieve personally, that we want to achieve relationshiply, but we have that overarching monetary goal of what we want to achieve this year. So Nancy and I focus on something called the end in mind. So a lot of people that want to achieve something, you have to see where you're going to know where you are right now, and then you fill the gaps in between. So say we want to make X amount of dollars. We have that goal at the top of that happening board. And then below that, we have all of the products, services, and offerings that we have. And then all we need to do is decide, okay, with the offerings that we have, how many people need to join our mastermind this year? How many people need to sign up for our posting platform? How many, and so on, till it equates to that monetary amount of money that we want to make compounded over that entire year will equate to our monetary goal. Now, what I'll say is this. We have a monetary goal this upcoming year, but with the numbers that we actually wrote down, we overshot that goal by about $150,000. So for us, that feels good because we know we have a $150,000 cushion added into the numbers that we wrote down. So we're big not only in creating the vision, but we're really hardwired in what we want to happen. And we just basically put into action and practical application the things that we want to achieve. So if you can actually look at the goal that you want to have right in front of you, all you have to do is put action behind it that's going to get you to achieve that exact thing that you want.
Are you ready to up-level your sales game? Well, here is a gift for you. It is the Mastering the Sales Conversation mini training. This training gives you my proven step-by-step approach to sales so that you can go from that overwhelmed and intimidated approach that you have to sales to feeling confident and leading a conversation so that you easily guide somebody to hiring you. You can get it right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/mastering. This is my gift to you. Go grab it now. Another really fantastic answer. Thank you so much for sharing that. So crystal clear. Like, I feel like I can see your board behind you of like, these are these 10 to 15 things. We've got the goal. And I love that you work that backwards too, because I feel like I do this. And I often encourage my clients to as well, because they'll have this number, but they'll be like, oh, but it seems crazy. It's just my pie in the sky kind of number. And I'm like, well, let's break it down. Because when you start to break it down and you go, this is how many clients you need per month, or this is how many sales you need of this product or this offering, then pretty soon they're like, oh, okay. All right. So then, then work it back. Like, where do the clients come from? How many clients on average are you getting there? Do you need to pour some gasoline on this? How can we build this fire bigger? Like, there's all these ways. So I love that you do it that way.
Yeah, when you break it down, it becomes more possible. And the simple, like, I like using very round numbers. So say someone listening to this or watching this, you want to make $10,000 a month, and maybe you're making $5,000 a month right now. And you're like, well, how can I double my monthly revenue? And say that you have one-on-one coaching that you charge $2,500 per client. So right there, your gap is 2 clients per month.
Yep.
Then you have to think about, okay, if my gap is 2 clients per month, and I'm only generating maybe 2 get-to-know-you calls per week that could then lead to a potential client later on down the road, look to double that. So instead of 2 calls per week, seek to book 4, because now your action has doubled, which means at the end of that, you have the potential of doubling the clients that you're then taking on. So when you really break things down in very simplistic terms, it makes it more doable. Because when people think, it's one thing to think about, man, I got to double my revenue. Like, I got to go from 5 to 10K. That seems like such a steep mountain to climb. But then when you realize, like, oh, I'm charging $2,500 per client, that means I have to just pick up 2 clients per month, which means every other week I just have to onboard 1 new person. Then it becomes more real. It becomes more doable.
Yep.
Then you just have to take the action behind it.
Yes. Yes. I love that you broke that down too around like, okay, so you're doing 2 calls a week, double that, right? Like there's all these little things that you can do that it's I think you even mentioned this at the beginning. It's like the compound effect, right? Of like then things start to really take off and roll that way. So I love this so much. Okay, so how do you know when it's time to pay attention to this idea of creating wealth online?
Well, I mean, for every person, I think it's different. But what I would say is if there's a pull that you're feeling, maybe you've been looking at what other people are doing online and it's inspiring you. Maybe there's an aspect of someone's life or maybe a piece of their life that they're living that you're like, man, I wish I could do that. Right. You have to start thinking about not what it would be like to live that person's life, but what in your life is feeling missing that you could fill with something that maybe you're not doing. People think and feel that creating wealth online is a very challenging thing. In my humble and honest opinion, it's never been easier. In the sense that there are so many free resources out there for people to learn how to do it. And I think the sub question that comes up is there a space for me to make money online? Because everyone has different skill sets, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people, they knit and want to sell their quilts or sweaters. Is there a space for that? Well, it's why Etsy exists, right? There's course creators. So I think for that person, you know, if you check in with yourself and you're really wanting to streamline processes, you want to streamline your life, I can't tell you the flexibility of running an online business, I think is also something that brings a lot of ease to my life and Nancy's life because we have the ability to work from anywhere and everywhere. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we take multiple vacations a year. We do bring our laptops just in case, not for the purpose of working, but just in case something comes up, the team needs something, we have to step in and do something, we have the availability to do that. So for that person that's feeling maybe you've been meant for more, maybe you want more flexibility in your life, maybe you want more simplicity where you want to create ease, creating an online business and creating that online wealth is easier and more simple than you actually know. And it's just about taking those steps and not falling into those shiny object syndrome traps that we see online all the time, the 6 figures in 6 days or the 7 figures in 6 months. Are some of those things possible? Sure. But it's like the lottery. Doesn't happen too often. It's the long game approach, much like you said, that compounded effect. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're feeling a pull inside of you that you were meant for more, you want more, but you want to create more ease in your life, maybe starting something online in the very beginning, just dipping your toes, not quote unquote firing your boss as a lot of people tell you to do. You you never want to give up a stream of income before you've either replaced or increased past what you're currently making. You either want to break away from that and break it even. So if you're making $150,000 a year in your corporate life, you're not leaving until you're making $150,000 a year online or more. I know so many people that have made the mistake. They're like, oh, I'm at 50K, you know, a year. I'm going to give it up and I'm going to go all in with this. And before they know it, they're back to getting a job again.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be realistic, but I really feel that that starts inside of you, that if you feel like you've meant for more, you want more, but you want more things in a simplistic and easy way where you have flexibility and control. That's when someone maybe needs to start looking at what they want to do in the online space.
I love it. Okay. How do you know when to stop?
That's a great question because Nancy and I talk about this all the time. And I'm going to cite an example.
Okay.
And I'm just going to use network marketing as an example. So what kind of turned the light on for me was network marketing. So I spent a few years doing network marketing. I did it very well. I was very successful at doing it because I saw it for what it was. baby entrepreneurship. And I learned how to market myself. I learned how to brand myself, but I was branding and marketing for another company. And to make a long story short, there were chirps going around that people were not happy that I was teaching LinkedIn to people within the company and outside of the company. They were paying me. So they had frozen my account, and that they didn't freeze everything. I had money coming in from other places, but for me, that was the first time that I ever felt like an employee. And I've always been psychologically unemployable. So as soon as I was pushed into that corner, I'm like, done. That is my sign that my time in network marketing has ended. Another door is opening up, and I'm going all in on me, where there's no ceiling, there's no strings attached, there's no one holding me down. Now, the majority, 99.9% of people in network marketing never make a dime. And I have this conversation often with Nancy because I have this, I feel for these people because they're sold a bad bill of goods, so to speak, where it seems too easy, right? When something seems too good to be true, it probably is. And I ask her this question often. I said, Nance, when should someone throw in the towel? When should they say enough is enough? Now, if we want to get very granular with this, time frame wise, in my opinion, after a year and a half of really focusing on something and it's not working, you may have to reevaluate your journey. Because in 18 months, if you've been trudging along, piecemealing things together, patchwork quilting things, it's not maybe the opportunity or what you're looking to do, it's probably you. And some people, Nikki, in all fairness, are not meant to be entrepreneurs. It's a whole different animal. A lot of people have the employee mindset completely wrapped around their DNA, and it's so hard to manage themselves because they're used to be managed. So it's a completely different mindset shift that they need to take on. And that's not to say that they can't do it in about a year and a half, but I know when so much money is being invested in something they want to do and it's not working, you may have to reevaluate your journey. Now, other people may have a different answer, but I'm always big into ROI. And if you're consistently bleeding money, you're investing here and you're investing there and it's not working, again, it could be you, but it also could be what you're marketing. And Nancy always says this, is there a demand for what you're offering?
Yeah.
Google other people in your space. And this is what Nancy says, and it was very brilliant when she said this. She goes, if there's no other competitors, that's probably a sign that there's no demand for it. It's a good sign when there's other people out there doing something similar to what you're doing. So for me, I always like people to be realistic. If it's been a year and a half and you're getting no traction, you're getting no results, nothing is working, you need to turn the mirror around and you really need to evaluate how serious you are. So, Nikki, I'll finish with this. We did a workshop in January, and for the first time ever, we conducted a survey prior to the workshop. And we wanted to take the temperature of the people that were going to attend the workshop. And it was various questions, what they're struggling with, the foundations of your business, your marketing, your sales, your team. The last set of questions was all about their commitment to their business. The first and most important sub-question of that is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to succeeding in the business that you have? Now, this was a trick question because there's only 2 answers, 0 or 10.
I totally agree.
So it was alarming to us because there was the majority, over 50%, were not committed to their business. So most of the time, when people fail in what they're looking to do, it's not about what they're looking to grow. It's not about the market demand. It's their commitment level. Wishy-washy goals create wishy-washy results. And if you're not at a 10, that means you're not going to be willing to do what's necessary. You're not willing to take the hard road. You're not willing to lean into the uncomfortable. You want to play it safe. No one was born for mediocrity. Everybody was born for as great as they want to be and as they want to create. So I think at the end of the day, if you're not committed to what you want to do, it's never going to work.
Amen. I totally agree. I think I'm always so surprised about things like that. And I heard this on a podcast so many years ago, and it was somebody talking about like it was really about like going really committing to a particular marketing strategy. And it was like if you can spend, let's say you spend $20 and from that $20 you generate $21 or something. I can't remember the exact example. How much money do you invest? And people were like, $20, $100. And she's like, the answer is all the money because you're getting a return. Well, you're making more money than you. And it's like, and I remember being like, when I heard her ask this question on this podcast, I remember being like, yeah, you invest as much as you possibly can so that because you're getting if it's a given and you're getting a return, like you invest all the money. Yeah. So anyway.
And again, Nikki, to your point, that's probably one of the biggest bottlenecks for people that are not succeeding. They're not willing to invest.
Yes.
I would say one of the biggest downfalls in entrepreneurship in the online space is money mindset. People's relationships with money have to change, because if that fear instinctually comes up, like, oh my God, I'm about to make this investment, and your initial thought is this: what if it doesn't work? You're already set up for failure, because it should never be, what if this doesn't work? It should be, I can't wait to see what happens. There's a big difference in that, because Nancy and I we have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into our business.
Same.
And it is more than returned that. And that's the thing. We believe in investing in ourselves and other people. A coach should always have a coach. We're always like, we're in a couples mastermind right now with other entrepreneurial couples that are in business together. So we're learning from other people. We're always doing something to put us into a higher caliber category of other people. And I was listening to a podcast recently, Chris Harder, who I was in his mastermind at one point, mentor of mine. And he said, like, the next set of rising stars are going to populate this coming year. And he said it's going to be more about, the circle that you get yourself into. Mm-hmm. And he said his recommendation was this. He goes, stop trying to get into Tony Robbins' circle. Stop trying to get into Dean Graziosi's circle. Those circles are closed. They have their friends. They have the people that they've locked arms with. He goes, what you're missing is there are people to the left and the right of you that want exactly what you do. Those are the people you should be linking arms with, because they're going exactly where you want to go. And that was so impactful for me, because I can't express to people enough, how many years are you going to let go by without investing a single dime? And now you're not getting results in your business, and then you wonder why. And I think the contradictive statement that really populates for me, Nikki, is this: people expect other people to invest in them when they are not investing in themselves.
Oh my gosh, yes. I wrote a
how are you going
article
to
about this, and I've done
how
a
are you
podcast
going
about
to
this.
ask someone else for money if you're not willing to invest in someone else? It's a walking contradiction, and I don't understand.
I think so too. And I think you're just like, it is always so interesting to me, people who are like, oh, I don't know about investing in learning sales, learning to close sales, but nobody will buy from me. And it's like, well,
you wonder why.
You're already putting out this message of like, you wouldn't invest in yourself. Why would you expect somebody else to invest in you if you won't invest in yourself? And I don't mean that of like, pay me the money. I truly want people when they show up to work with me to not think about, I'm paying Nikki money. I want them to go, I invested in myself. And I want them to look back a year from now going, that was the best investment I've ever made in myself. And I feel the same about my coaches. Like, I mean, obviously, I love to give credit where credit is due. And I have some amazing mentors and coaches, but I don't look at it as like, oh, I paid this person all this money. I look at it of like, this is what I invested in myself and look at the return that I got. So anyway, I feel really passionate about that. You get me on my soapbox about that one for sure.
No, I wish more people would recognize that. It's, Nikki, people complicate business so much. Like they don't understand, like, to make money, you have to invest money. It's almost like I said, I made a post one time. I said, if you invest $0, you're going to get $0 back. It's simple compounded interest. It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
That's why, but it's so funny. People will immediately, they will invest in a 401k and an IRA, whether it's $100 a month or $500 a month, because there's a guaranteed ROI. And when you think about investing in a coach or a program, what's one thing that people ask us? And this is a red flag for me, Nikki. This is like literally, I close the door on the opportunity. What's your guarantee? As soon as someone says that, I let them know, listen, I don't think you're necessarily ready for what we're offering because you are looking for quote unquote guaranteed results. And the results are actually predicated on you applying what you've learned. And if you are not ready to apply what you've learned, you're not ready for what we have to offer.
I have a thing that I say, and I say it all the time. I say it as many chances as I get. And now my clients say it back to me. I always say implementers get results. And I only want to work with implementers because it isn't about me. I can't sell for you. I can teach you the skills, and I will. And I'll do everything I can to pour into you. You have to do the selling. You have to do it. So implementers get results. Yes. Scott, you are such a breath of fresh air. I have really enjoyed getting to spend the last couple days together. And I say that because for not that anybody would know this, but I got to be on Scott's podcast yesterday and we had such a great conversation there. Such a great conversation today with you. I'm so grateful that you came. As we wrap it up, I have a couple just last little questions for you, if that's okay. What is something that brings you extreme pleasure or joy right now?
Spending time with family and friends. Nothing fills me more. It's funny you asked that. So my son's writing teacher sent a note to all the parents for Valentine's Day. We're recording this right around Valentine's Day. So she said we want to do something special for the kids. So if you guys wanted to write a handwritten note to your child, you can put it in my mailbox at the school, and we're going to distribute them to all the kids on Valentine's Day. And nothing means more to me than letting the ones that I love know how much I love and appreciate them, and being able to do what I get to do and be available to my son, coach him in baseball, spend the time with him and my wife, but also, I moved where I moved to be 5 miles away from my sister, my brother-in-law, and my two nieces. We spend, literally almost every weekend together. And to me, spending time with my family, but also I'm still friends with all my friends from high school and childhood. Like literally we've been friends since we're 5. It just lights me up. Being able to spend time with all of them, it's what makes me most happy. Yes, what I do for business, I love because it affords us to be able to live the life that we're doing and the way that we are. But being around the people that I love, that's really what matters most.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. What's something exciting going on in your business right now?
So a lot of exciting things. I would say the most exciting thing right now is my wife and I made the decision we had a goal of co-writing a book together because we're in kind of like a very interesting space. We are married in real life, but we're also married in business. And there's not a lot of husband and wife business owner teams in the online space like ourselves. And it's a very niche thing. And that's why a lot of people love joining our programs, because they get 2 coaches for the price of 1, which we really love highlighting that. And Nancy released her first book, which is right back here. It's How to Build Your Personal Brand on Social Media. My books are back there. They're on LinkedIn. And I said to her, we really need to write a book together because we believe in something called the feel good business model. So we want to teach people how to grow and run a business that feels good. She always says you can't see the label from inside the jar. So we really want to help people build a business where they could facilitate certain things, have a small team, high revenue, low overhead, high profit. That's the way that we like to teach. So I said to Nancy the other day, I said, let's get the wheels turning. I said, let's get this book out in March. And she said, okay, it's going to be a push, but we're going to do it. So what is really lighting me up is that we are in the process right now. We have one chapter down. We have about 9 to go, but we are spending this upcoming weekend dedicated to basically writing this entire book. So it's ready to be launched in March, and it's going to be called the Feel Good Business Model. And it's going to be by the both of us, from the both of us, for everybody else. So that's what we're most excited about right now.
That's awesome. All right. And for our listeners, what is the best way for people who are listening to you to connect with you?
LinkedIn is always a good place. That's where I spend most of my time.
Yeah.
My website, scottaaron.net. But if someone's interested in learning more about Nancy and I specifically, about our journeys and what we do, www.thetimetogrowth.com will tell you all about our different products and services. And again, obviously, Nikki was on my podcast, Networking and Marketing Made Simple. So you can listen to that on iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, and Google Podcast. And that's a great way to learn more from me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all that you shared. You are a wealth of information. I love your energy, the way you process, the way you think. This was really insightful, and I really appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you too, Nikki, and thank you for having me on the show today.
And thank you for listening, listener. I hope you got as much out of this episode as I did. Please reach out to Scott and to myself online and share what was your biggest takeaway. All right, have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.
Are you ready to increase your confidence in your sales conversations? I have a gift for you that is going to show you exactly how to do that. It is my Closing the Sale ebook. It's all about leveling up your confidence, giving you language to use, how to seamlessly move somebody through the sales process. And you can get it right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/Maven. Go grab it.